Hello, my name is Carolina Bella, and I'm a Senior Manager of Professional Development.
Hello, and I'm Michelle Martinez. I'm Senior Manager of State Association Professional Development. Carolina and I are your professional development team, and we wanted to spend some time with you just talking about what professional membership benefits that you will get once you decide to affiliate with SkillsUSA. So let's hop right to it. The first thing I'm going to show you is just a quick review of how to actually affiliate, how to become a member of SkillsUSA. One of the things I'll say right from the start is we have a fabulous customer care team, and we're going to be showing you how to access customer care frequently throughout this recording. And at the end, Carolina will again show you customer care. So if at any time you forget or struggle or just come to a stopping point, always feel free to contact customer care because they are there for you 5 days a week. So what I did right here is I went to skillsusa.org, which is our national website, and you may even want to bookmark that page so that you can access it frequently later. But what you're going to do is click on this top left button that says join. Now, depending where you are in your career as an advisor, as a teacher, as a SkillsUSA professional member, you may already have some login information here. If so, you can just log in like you do with any other account. And if not, you'll have to create that as you would with any other account online. So I'm going to assume you've done that. Again, if you can't get into this part of the website, you're going to contact customer care, which if I go back, let me log off. I apologize. If I go back, you'll see that customer care box right on the login page. So if you can't get yourself in here and you think, I have a login, I forgot, obviously there's a reset button there, but if you're struggling at any point, there's our customer care information right there. Notice there's a chat button right here as well, so you can get on the spot help. So I'm going to go back and log in again. And my screen is going to be a little different than yours, but the tabs at the top are the important ones for you to look at right here. So you're going to be clicking on the membership tab, add edit members. And I'm not going to go into huge details on this particular piece because you do have customer care ready to help you. There is a quick start membership guide right here that gives you screenshots of step-by-step what to do. And there's also a video walkthrough. So there's a lot of resources right here to get you going with help. And once again, there's some customer care information with the phone number, their time of day of their work. So lots of help right here on the screen. The reason I'm showing you this though is if you don't affiliate yourself as a professional member, you will not have access to what Carolina and I are going to show you next. So once you've affiliated yourself through this part of registration, you will immediately be given an email to access SkillsUSA Absorb, absorb.skillsusa.org. If you're going there right now as you're listening to this and you can't get in, it could be that you're not a professional member yet. So once again, this is where you go once you get your professional membership benefits. And if you have any problems with that along the way, just contact customer care. So let's assume now that you're into Absorb, just like I am, and you're going to have a login for this site as well. You can use the same login information that you did on your registration for Absorb because it's yours to, it's up to you how you want to do that. So once I get into Absorb, I'm going to go to these 3 lines right here and notice there's a tab that says My Courses. So you want to click on that tab. And then again, on my screen, I've got a lot of courses here. You may have only 1, you may have 2. It just depends on how much you've been in Absorb and what your experience is. But what you're looking for right now is 2022-2023 Professional Membership Benefits Package right here. So you're going to click on that and look at all this marvelous information that is now at your disposal. So once again, these are for you to use as a professional member. And we're going to go through each of these tiles this afternoon or this morning, whenever you're listening to this, so that you know exactly what's in each tile and how to get to them. The first one I'm going to show you is the SkillsUSA Championships tile, which you can see the icons with the medals. Of course, we're known for our wonderful competitions that are run by business and industry partners, and we want to know what are those competitions about? How can I figure out what a competition is like? This is where you're going to go. Now, today, unfortunately, I can't show you much of what's in here because the championships tile becomes available in October to our professional members. So we give our business and industry partners time between our national conference in June and October to make edits, to make changes, to clarify things, and then we release the next year's championships. Once you can get in here come October, you will see we have technical skills, leadership skills, occupational skills. Some of you who have been around for a while have heard of a PD test. There's a study guide in there. And so those are all arranged alphabetically, and you'll be able to access those, as I said, in October. But that's your championships tile. So when you start hearing about competitions, you're going to want to go in here. Now, one clarifying remark I'll make is these are the national technical standards. So this is what your student or students could expect on a national level. If you are going to go to your state competition, which you have to do to qualify for nationals, what most of our states do is take these guidelines, but of course the project may be pared down just because of the timeline between a state competition and a national. So you'll also want to be in contact with your state director on some of those changes. But if you are into the national technical guidelines, you're going to get a really good idea of what that competition might look like. The next tile that I want to show you is Framework Integration Toolkit. So let's click on that. We know that the SkillsUSA framework, which was put together with the help of business and industry, is one of the most crucial features of our organization to help our students learn those valuable employability skills. And in the SkillsUSA framework, we call those essential elements. So we know that we need to integrate teaching those employability skills, those essential elements, into our classroom, into our lab, into our workplace, into every part. It's an intracurricular part of our classroom and our chapter. And we want to give you those resources. So we're going to spend some time right now looking at what all is in this framework toolkit. First of all, if you've never heard of the SkillsUSA framework, in a few minutes, Caroline is going to show you an e-module where you can learn more as an advisor. But right here, there's just a piece on what exactly are those essential elements. What am I talking about here? What is the framework? And so you can just click on the blue buttons to your right, and you will see everything related to what exactly that SkillsUSA framework is. And you can see the three components right here. Here's our personal skills, here's our workplace skills, and here's our technical skills grounded in academics. So that's just that little introductory piece. Now you may be saying, okay, that's fine and that's wonderful, but you said I'm supposed to be like integrating those into everything I do. Well, look at our next tile right here. We have lesson plans for you to use, and these are scripted lesson plans. So as a teacher, you get to decide what piece. You can use it all, you can use it exact, you can extrapolate what you need. Notice there is an introduction lesson, and then what you're going to see is each component will list those essential elements that are found within that component, and there is a lesson plan for each essential element. So I'm just going to open up the integrity lesson plan just so we can see what's in there, and you're going to love this. I know when I was teaching in the classroom, anytime I found a lesson plan, I loved being able to pick that apart, use it in whole. This lesson plan is set up just like you would want it to be. It shows you the time that it's going to take you to teach that lesson. It shows you the supplies you're going to need to teach that lesson. And it also shows you, notice, objectives. So many of us have to show objectives in our lesson plan or post them somewhere in our classroom. There's the objective. Now, one of the other nice features about these lesson plans is along the way, it tells you about the time limit you need to do each of those activities within the lesson plan. And also notice we've changed the way the font looks within the lesson plan. So all of this regular font are things you're going to do. This italicized font is what you would say. So if you are starting at ground zero and you want to try one of these lesson plans, you can literally do a read aloud. For more experience, obviously you can frame how you would want to say that, but we give it to you scripted. You can pull that and use it. Now, for many of you, you have some existing chapters with really great officers. If you want to give this lesson plan to your chapter officers and have them do it, also wonderful. So lots of different ways to use these lesson plans. That is all your choice because you are, of course, the teacher in your class. Notice whatever's within that lesson plan, we have given you as well. So in the integrity lesson plan, you may have seen a handout. There it is. And you would just download this like you download anything off the internet, and then you can make your copies. So there's that piece. And then in this integrity lesson, there is also a time in there where you were doing some scenarios. So we even gave you the sample scenarios to use in this lesson. The great thing about these lesson plans is you don't have to prepare anything extra if you don't want to. And so, as I said, they're ready-made, ready to go, scripted for you. How you use that in your class and when you use it is entirely up to you. But there is one lesson plan for every essential element. Wow, that's amazing. Know you're going to want to make use of those lesson plans. So now I'm going back to the toolkit. We know we have just some basic information. We know we have the foundations lesson plan. Here we have just a motion graphic video that talks about what the SkillsUSA framework is, which is also nice. And then here we have some additional videos. And these videos go with every single essential element. So look at, there's integrity once again. So if you wanted to, before you taught that lesson that I just showed you, if you wanted to show a quick video on what exactly is integrity, how are we going to define that? There's a video for you. One of the great things about these motion graphic videos is none of them are extremely long. They're usually between 3 and 5 minutes in length. So they're meant to be like quick introductory, show it in the middle of something, etc. So then you have your motion graphic videos. Now, beyond that, look, there's still more. Let's look at the integration strategies piece. This looks a little different because this is not a lesson plan. This is a guidebook of how you can integrate the framework into, I'm going to say, different ways in your classroom. So as I scroll down, you're going to see, here's ways to integrate the SkillsUSA framework on your first day of school. And then they give you tips, how to integrate in your class and lab, in your chapter meetings. If you have a guest speaker in your class, how can I integrate the SkillsUSA framework into a guest speaker experience? So let's just kind of look at what that would look like if we wanted to do that. Notice they give you several little tips and a time period of how to do that integration. Do this for 3-4 minutes, do this in the know, want to know, learned column. What are you most excited to learn? This is all before your guest speaker comes. And then they give you some reflective questions to integrate in the after the guest speaker leaves, all related to the SkillsUSA framework. So as you continue looking through that, here's ways to integrate the framework into your field trips, into assessments, preparing for competitions, substitute teachers. How can we integrate the framework into a day when we may not even be there? That's some great pieces of information right there for you. So that guide right there will help you integrate the framework into different areas of your classroom, lab, competition, chapter. Just how can I infuse the SkillsUSA framework into everything I'm doing? The next piece of our toolkit are the experiential activities. Now, I like to call these the team building, icebreakers, really fun things that your students kind of like to do. Again, this is, if you have an existing chapter, this is a great thing to pass over to your chapter officers and let them take it and run with it. or you can run it yourself. So I'm thinking you just finished a unit on integrity, and maybe I want to do an experiential activity to kind of close it up. Maybe I want to do an experiential activity mid-lesson. Maybe it's a Friday and we need something kind of fun to get everybody going again. This is where you're going to want to dive into this packet. So notice what we've done. There's our framework again with our explanations. These are very quick. They give you the setup, the materials, the directions, which essential element this addresses, and even some debriefing questions. So again, very easy. Pull that up. You can do it very quickly. Notice these two activities right here on this page kind of address all the essential elements. But if you go further in, you've got some that address specific essential elements. This one works with work ethic, professionalism, and so on. So again, how can I do something fun, but really still focused on those SkillsUSA framework essential elements? So those are experiential activities. Boy, we are giving you lots of help on how to integrate the SkillsUSA framework into your class. So let's just take a quick review. We have our scripted lesson plans. We have our motion graphic videos for both the SkillsUSA framework as a whole and also for each essential element. We have different ways to integrate that through guest speakers, field trips, etc. We have some experiential activities where students get to dive in, do something really fun, game related, if you will, but still focused on that essential element. Here is a business partner outreach and preparation guide, and I won't open that tile because it's self-explanatory. This is how you can start working with your business and industry partners to help them understand what the SkillsUSA framework is as well. Notice at the bottom, we have a bingo game and we have some Kahoots. So once again, there's some games ready-made for you, ready to go. Now this last tile, I do want to open up and show you the framework story. Once again, you see a lesson plan here. What is a framework story, you may be thinking to yourself? A framework story is the way that our students can now take their growth in an essential element and tell a story about it. So let's backtrack a little bit. Let's say that you wanted your students to learn lots about the essential element integrity. We were looking at that lesson plan, and you have integrated teaching about integrity into your classroom. You did the lesson plan I just showed you. You showed the video. You did some experiential activities. You even had a guest speaker come in, and while they were talking about their business, you also asked them, can you talk about integrity in your business also? And they did that. You kept talking about integrity for a long period of time, maybe 2-3 weeks, maybe an entire unit of study. And at the end of that lesson, you asked your students, what did you think about how you were with integrity before, and how are you thinking about that now? And your students will be able to tell you, well, I grew in that. I didn't realize it was even that important until you started teaching me about it, or I kind of knew, but I wasn't that good at it. They're going to have a story to tell, and their story is going to show how they grew from the beginning of that unit to now. That lesson plan, you want to make sure you are teaching them how to communicate that very, very well in this story. So that's your framework lesson plan, the framework story lesson plan. Then notice there are some example videos of past national officers that you can share with your students while they're developing their framework story. You can show them these exemplars. Now, I would say as a best teaching practice, when your students start developing their framework stories, have them record them, and you can save them for your own library so that as you continue with framework stories throughout the year, you've got your own students telling their framework stories. Imagine a student going to an interview for a job, and instead of just saying something like, I know I have integrity, what if they could tell a story about integrity? In my welding class, we did a unit and I learned about integrity and I grew with integrity. And this is how I know I've developed an integrity. Wow, how powerful is that for an employer to hear? So that right there is a way for you to start teaching your students how to communicate those valuable employability skills to business and industry, to future employers, to college scholarship boards, to everyone in the world, because we know that that's what our employers are looking for. So let's just reframe really quickly what all is in this toolkit for you to use as a professional member of SkillsUSA. How am I going to teach the SkillsUSA framework? What do I have at my disposal? And you have all of these things right there in your SkillsUSA framework toolkit. Wow. I'm sure you're like, I need to get in there and start looking at that. So I'm going to go back now to our tiles. So far, we've talked about the championships, which is our national technical guidelines. We took a very deep dive into the framework integration toolkit. And now I'm going to jump over a tile to the program of work toolkit. Now, once again, this is a piece of our SkillsUSA chapter activity. We like our students to develop a program of work. This is a way for our students to get involved and take on leadership through committee work. And we have ways for them to do that. Notice this looks a little different than the framework integration toolkit. Instead of having lots and lots of experiential activities and all of the things that we just saw, here we have 3 guides, and each of them is as a virtual option as well. So we have guide 1, guide 2, and guide 3. So the idea behind the program of work toolkit is, where are you as an advisor, and what is your experience with helping your students put together a program of work? If you're sitting here listening like, I don't even know what a program of work is, your experience level is like ground zero, you want to use activity guide 1. If you've worked on a program of work, but maybe you don't feel real comfortable with it yet, I want to get better at it, you may want to use activity guide 2. Activity guide 2 kind of assumes that you've had some experience with it, but you want some additional help. And then if you feel like you're pretty on board, but maybe you just want to deepen your chapter excellence program application, or you want to deepen it for your students, you will use activity guide 3. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time in any of these guides, but I will open up guide 1 just to kind of show you. Now, don't let the length of pages freak out your brain. This is a long guide, but remember, this is for someone who has never done a program of work. So this starts you at ground zero and really works you through. This is a very prescriptive way to look at the program of work. And I won't scroll through this, but notice what's in here. I'm a SkillsUSA advisor. What does that mean? There's a little section for you to read. We talk about the SkillsUSA infographic. We talk about how to talk to students about the infographic, the program of work categories, etc. And then when you get here, this actually gives you step-by-step directions with ready-made activities on how you might do a program of work with your chapter. So again, this is very prescriptive. Notice there's a budget worksheet, there's activities, there's a program of work calendar that gives you those ready-made activities. You could easily transfer some activities you're doing in your classroom, or you could say, nope, I'm going to do exactly what this guide shares with me to do. Your choice, because it's your program. But that is our program of work toolkit. So once again, in between, you'll see some videos again. You'll see that teacher administration, a partner video, the student video. So all of that is right there in that toolkit package for you. The last tile I'm going to show you before turning it over to Carolina to finish up our professional membership benefits session here today is jump into STEM. So to review, you've got your technical guidelines, your framework integration toolkit, your program of work toolkit, and now we're going to look at jump into STEM. Now this toolkit, this tile is to be used for chapters, for programs who like to work with local junior highs, middle schools, elementary schools. So if you're the type of advisor who your students like to make that bridge between middle school and high school, you're going to want this jump into STEM. And again, it's put together elementary, middle school / junior high. And there is a complete guide that you can look through. I'm just going to use the middle school as an example. I'm going to click on that. So this teacher's guide is everything that's in this in one stop. So if you open up the teacher's guide, you're gonna have everything there. You could print that and use it, or you can just use the pieces of that guide that are then spelled out throughout this part of Absorb. And I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I do want you to see, once again, if you want to work with middle schools and elementary schools in your community, we've really given you all the resources to do that. So there's a curriculum overview. Oh, there's our SkillsUSA framework again. It's there everywhere. It's so important to us. How to use the curriculum. Look at this. There's an advisor's checklist that kind of gives you from start to finish. How are we going to do that? How am I going to connect to a middle school? And obviously in the elementary school section, this would be related to an elementary school. How do I prepare my students to be facilitators? How do we practice what we're going to do? What happens on presentation day? Wow, this is amazing stuff in here. How can we evaluate what the students did so that they get some data? How can we reach out to media? How will we celebrate this wonderful activity for us as the facilitators and for our audience that we're going to? And then there's a PowerPoint presentation. Notice this section, sample documents and letters. You don't even have to worry about that. It's all done for you. So the middle school teacher, the middle school principal, I don't need to keep reading this aloud. As you are scrolling through with me, you can see we've really thought of everything for you so that you can really focus on helping your students prepare to be those wonderful facilitators. Here's a sample media advisory, sample press release. And then we get into the actual activities that you're going to have your students share with those middle school or elementary school students. And so what we've done is we've divided the curriculum up, notice, into career clusters. So right now I'm looking at architecture and construction, and I've got 2 sample careers with activities for your students to teach those other students. So we've got one on cost estimator, we've got one on demolition engineer. And as you scroll through the other career clusters, you can see here's graphic designer, here's being a podcaster. So we've tried to find some careers that we thought elementary school and middle school students might have some interest in, might be a little unusual perhaps, or part of that industry. Graphic designers we know are very important to AV technology and communications, so on and so forth. So as you look at those activities, again, it will spell out for your students exactly what to do, what supplies are needed, the time frame needed, if there's any kind of handouts, all in the curriculum for you. So once again, if you have any aspirations or ambition to work with your local middle school or elementary school, you want to investigate Jump into STEM. Now, if you're brand new or you've just never thought about doing that, you may want to use this guide and start planning for next year, or you may want to jump into the deep end and let's do this now. But again, this is all for you to help your students do those activities for those middle school or elementary school students. So that jump into STEM tile is amazing if that's something that you do in your coursework. And if it's not, think about it for your future and know that we have that resource there for you. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Carolina, who is going to finish up showing you the rest of our professional membership benefits package.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michelle, for this very thorough deep dive into framework, POW, and jump into STEM. What I'm going to do right now, we're going to continue discovering the tiles that we have within our professional membership benefits. I will share my screen. And as you know, share. We are here in my courses and 2022-2023 professional member benefits package tile. Again, mine look much different than yours. Michelle covered technical standards, framework integration toolkit, POW, and jump into STEM. What I'm going to cover today is our e-courses. So let's click on that and take a look. E-courses are short. They take about 40 to 1 hour of completion courses that certify you in a specific content area. And you have those for free included in your professional membership benefits. If your students are interested in completing those, they also have this opportunity. However, they would have to purchase them. So what you have are 4 wonderful courses. SkillsUSA Framework Certification is what Michelle mentioned, gives you all the scaffolding and groundwork for being confident in saying, I know what SkillsUSA Framework is. So you will have Start here. I have Resume because I've dabbled in and out of these courses. And you will see the certification that you're going to receive after completing e-module, learning journal, knowledge check, and other resources. It might take about an hour to complete Framework Certification 1. Let's go back. We're in Framework Certification, and let's go back to my courses, because I want to show you other courses. Another course that is really worth exploring is CTE Knowledge Certification. Let's take a look at it. So what CTE Knowledge Certification does is it equips you in all the important information about career and technical education, from history of it to how it proceeds now to knowing Perkins 5. So you can be a CTE educator that has a lot of knowledge on CTE itself. So again, we have a learning journal, e-module, and certification assessment. It takes about an hour to complete, and you have max attempts of 2. Very useful certification to have if you're a CTE educator. Another 2 certifications that you have here are promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion as a SkillsUSA leader. As we all know, DEI is deeply ingrained in our mission as educators, so we really recommend this course, which includes a workbook, of course, an e-module, and more resources in it. And the 4th e-course that I really recommend that you complete is Building Self-Motivation in Student Leaders, which might actually be also very suitable for your students. So here we discover the self-motivation essential element and how to best implement it. So through this short course, you'll be able to answer these questions. How can I invest in young leaders with my attention, with my curriculum, with my instruction to help them grow? And here we will have the e-module and more resources. Those are much shorter courses. So those are our e-courses. They all include a digital certificate that you receive after completion of the course. Some of them, as I said, have assessments, some don't, just resources, and e-modules to complete. So those are our e-courses. And one last final tile that we are going to discover today is our advisor professional development, which includes instructor-led courses. I would say our professional development team is very proud of the offerings that we have for you every term. We have in the fall semester, we have new offerings, and in the spring semester, we have the offerings as well. Take a look on the left side, you will see all of the topics that we are offering this upcoming fall. So from networking for state officer training, SkillsUSA certified advisor session, college post-secondary sessions for workplace communication, college post-secondary session for conflict management, best practices where we have best advisors network in the Zoom room, come up with some best solutions for preparing for competitions, communicating the value of career readiness. So how do we really get across our message that career readiness is important, and for our students to know, their parents, administrators, and other educators. Another college post-secondary session that we have about engaging adult learners. New advisor training we offer twice this fall. It's a comprehensive 5-hour training, so we really encourage that you have a sub and fully immerse yourself in this new advisor training experience. Chapter Excellence Program, how to apply. What are the best strategies to do so? What are the benefits of being a part of Chapter Excellence Program? Professional Development Day with multiple topics is a whole day, September 13th, that we devote to professional development. And another college post-secondary session about developing workforce readiness skills. And the same session, but geared more for our secondary students. How do we develop workforce readiness skills for high school students? So you might ask yourself, what does it mean? We always use this term, instructor-led, ILC. Well, that just means that you're joining a live training with either myself or Michelle or a combination of both of us. So you're going to have a live trainer that is ready to answer your questions on the spot, that is ready to give you some feedback, and you are going to have other advisors with you in the room that are ready to collaborate and network with you. So this sums up our absorb orientation of all the tiles that we have available to you as professional members. Now that's not over, because there is one more place I would like us to pay attention to. So these wonderful 6 tiles are going to give you a very comprehensive package on how to be a successful advisor in all the areas, from framework to program of work to jump into STEM. All of those offer you opportunities to implement it within your classroom or chapter. Now, that's not over. Absorb, you think, oh my gosh, this is so much, I have to click through here. No worries, if you just want to check the schedule of when is my training going to happen, you can go to our SkillsUSA website. So you probably know about SkillsUSA website. It's our biggest portal. And here in this tile events, you will see a subtile that says training. I will click on SkillsUSA training calendar for educators. And here you are going to see all the sessions that we offer with the times and their descriptions. So for example, we have new advisor training, September 9th, coming up next week. You will see the description and it will tell you to register and absorb. Now, how do we do that? Register through absorb. Let's go back. We click on the tile. We pick the session that we're interested in. Let's say we want to attend new advisor training. I'm going to click here, choose session, and I have those 2 sessions to pick from. Let's say I have availability to have a sub on October 7th. So I'm going to click enroll. And here I have our October 7th date that I can add to the calendar, or I can save my Zoom link for later access. Now, you can notice that the class sizes are pretty small, 25 students only. That has become because we really prioritize an experience during which you get to collaborate and ask questions. So we prefer small group learning. So if you would like to cancel your session to free up the spot for one of the advisors, you can do that here as well. So you can cancel your participation. So what I really recommend is to first go on our website, go and scroll which of those trainings work for my schedule, which of those descriptions sound most interesting, and then go back to absorb and register for one of them. You might ask, do all of the professional development sessions require absorb registration? And I would say most of them, but not all of them. So let's take a look at this website, SkillsUSA training calendar for educators. And you will discover that we have a variety of offerings in our professional development schedule. And you can see all of them in a PDF downloadable form here in the fall 2022 professional development. This is a Word document that is ready for you to print, to send as an attachment to your school principal or your other students or colleagues to take a look at what those offer. If any of your, let's say, colleagues are confused on how to access professional membership benefits, they can either watch this webinar, or you can quickly send them this document, Step to Access Professional Membership Benefits. Let's click on it real quick. And it will give you a very prescriptive step-by-step on how to get registered. Of course, the key for receiving the membership benefits is being registered as a professional member. And for that, I would encourage you to rewind to the beginning of the video to review that process. So we are here, as you see the wonderful calendar, there are a couple of offerings that, as I mentioned, do not require Absorb sign up. And one of those is a very popular program called Technical Fridays. On the website here, you have a right hyperlink. Click here to find out more and register for Technical Fridays. Now let's see what that implies. It takes us straight to the Technical Fridays flyer. And Technical Fridays are virtual Zoom sessions during which we bring an industry expert to perform and teach us a skill within their career cluster to other teachers so they can either implement it in their curriculum or learn it themselves for the future. So those are authentic pictures from our workshops: cosmetology, culinary arts, HVAC, criminal justice. And as you go on a second page of the flyer, you will have a registration link here. This is a WUFU form, and the spots are limited. So the sooner you reserve your spot, the better. So you click right here, and you are able to sign up. This is also the schedule for all the Technical Fridays, and a small recap of what we did in 2021 and 2022 with evaluation data. For example, 90% of evaluated participants have more knowledge on the skill presented and how to teach it to their students, all the business and industry that we've engaged, and some testimonies of participants. So here, right on this training website, you will have this hyperlink. We also have these workshops that are called Love and Logic, and we are going to be starting them in October. You can read more about them on our calendar as well. The first session is going to be learning how to neutralize students' argument in your classroom by recognizing argument triggers and going brain technique. We're going to have a licensed counselor, Decca Knight, with us, who has trained teachers on classroom management all over the country. So these also, you can register through WUFU by clicking on their link right here. All right. Well, that concludes our walkthrough of all the available training. I am going to now share our final slide. So you know who to contact when you have more questions about that, or maybe you would like this training to be done in your state virtually. My email is right here, available on the screen, so it is Michelle's. We are available for you for any consultation in terms of what do I show to my fellow advisors, or if you're a state director, how do I incorporate that in my life training? So we are here to give you the right resources and guidance on how to most effectively do that. And if you're an advisor viewing this, and you wonder, I would really like to do that, but I'm getting so lost in this Absorb registration and membership registration. It seems like I'm not doing something right. Don't worry, because we have our wonderful customer care team. We have multiple members of it ready to respond to your inquiry, either through call or chat or email. They're extremely efficient and fast. And to the right, you will see the hours that they're available for you. Thank you so much on the behalf of professional development team for watching this webinar. And we are really excited to have you join us for our professional development journey this fall and spring of 2022 and 23.